Hmm. All right, hello everybody. This is Leonard Johnson coming back to you again with the Run the Hammer podcast. And gosh, it's been two great interviews today with coaches across the state who are doing good things in their program. And let me say, I really appreciate the support that you guys are giving us and giving these coaches. I hear your comments, and all of it is positive. I think I've had one negative come out of all these things, and that's all right. You know, you're gonna have negative. There's always gonna be that one in the stand. I remember an old story. You know, we beaten the crap out of somebody by just running the ball, and some guy in the stand said, I think we were up by 45 nothing, everything. And somebody in the stand said, when you gonna throw the ball? I said, okay. 45 nothing lead, and he wants to know when we're gonna throw the ball. And I just shook my head and just moved on. But tonight we got an exciting coach here, man. I tell you, I've watched this guy here from afar, and I don't think we ever met. I asked him when I bring him on, but I don't think we've ever met and everything. But I watch these guys. I look at some of these young lions, as Coach Page like to call them. So I just use that vernacular, the young lions who are making an impression not only on the game but our kids also. And it's just amazing when you sit down and listen to the stories of what these guys are doing within their particular program. And let me say, each program is different. They're not the same, and because they're dealing with different human beings. And you have to, a good coach will adjust and do what he has to do for that community. This podcast is sponsored by my insurance agency, my name, Leonard Johnson Insurance Agency. And what we do is we help you get the best possible coverage, the best possible retirement program, and look at what you have and make suggestions. We don't make anybody do anything. We just try to help you. And whatever you're doing out there, it's not a bad idea to have somebody to review it to make sure that you are doing what's best for your family. So this a little advertisement will be scrolling throughout the thing. Pick up the telephone, give me a call, and we'll see if we can get together and find out the best way you have. You can do it and get all that good stuff out of the way so that you can retire comfortably when you get ready to hang it up. Not retire, not keep on working because you have to, but retire when you want to. Big difference. So let me see if I can do this thing right here. I ain't the smartest guy in the world, so let me see if I can bring on. Here we go. Let me do this. Bring on. There we go. Here we go. Here's the man of the hour, Coach Demetrius Davis from Fairfield Central High School. And I tell you, man, like I said, I've been following this guy for a long time. I talked to some of the guys that is working on his staff, and they tell me he's the bomb. So we like to get the bomb on the show and everything. Demetrius, let me start off. Have we ever met?
I think, Leonard, we've been in the same rooms. I want to say we have met formally, but I know I have seen you in different settings, whether it was at the coaching clinic or whether it was at some kind of some football related thing. But I've known you for a long time. So as far as an official meeting, I'm not sure. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, I just can't remember. Normally when I go to those things, I'm usually after I get through telling all them football lies and listen to all them lies, I usually go sit in the corner and just observe and everything. And I tell people all the time that I'm one of the shyest guys around. And they look at me and say, you need to stop BSing. I said, no, I'm shy, really. And which amazes me that I'm doing this because I'm very quiet, doing what I do and everything. But this is not about me. This is about Demetrius Davis today. For that one person out there, Demetrius, who don't know who you are, then there's one, okay? Once you introduce yourself to that one person, because the whole state know who you are, but we talking about that one person, all right?
Well, I don't know if that's true or not, Leonard, but like you said, I'm Demetrius Davis. I'm a 1995 graduate of Fairfield Central High School, born and raised in Winsboro, South Carolina. I had the opportunity my senior year in high school, where actually I had the opportunity in high school to play for Dr. Jerry Brown as a freshman and a sophomore. And we had an interim coach. His name just slipped my mind at our 11th grade year. And then Coach Pough, Coach Buddy Pough, was the head coach at Fairfield my senior year here. So I had the opportunity to play for Coach my senior year here. Was blessed to leave here to go play football at Fairfield State University up in Fayetteville, North Carolina, for 4 years. Graduated from there, and it was the time that Coach Pough was the running back coach at South Carolina, legendary Coach Lou Holtz. So Coach Pough used one of his favors, got me in as a video graduate assistant at South Carolina. I was at South Carolina with him for 2 years, working in the video department under the legendary video guy at South Carolina, who's still there, Joe Lyle. Had the opportunity to work for Joe for 2 years, and Coach Pough became the head coach at South Carolina State in 2001, and I was blessed to have the opportunity to go to South Carolina State and work with him for 10 years, and coach pretty much every position on the offense side of the ball there. And when Coach Reggie Kennedy, who's a good friend of mine, left Fairfield Central High School back in 2011, it was an opportunity for me to try out the high school ranks. You know, I had talked so much junk about high school coaches for 10 years at South Carolina State. And, you know, it was an opportunity for me to get in the seat so jokers can talk junk about me also.
So where was I? I'm trying to figure out where I was when you first became head coach over here, because Reggie left and he went to Blythewood, right?
Blythewood, yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to remember where I was at. I can remember that stuff. Huh?
Thinking if I don't have my years off, I want to say Scotts Branch. When did you win the state championship at Scotts Branch?
That was 7. We played 7, 8, and 9, I think. 8, 9, and 10. We played 3 years in a row. Well,
I knew it was close at that time, because I remember, because you had the kid that played quarterback and that went to South Carolina or something. I don't know where he ended up going, but I remember him being a good player. So I'm thinking it was around that time. So if you wasn't at Scott Branch at the time, then you had just left there to go wherever you went.
Yeah, no, I went to Marion. That's where I was.
Yeah, you would have been at Marion.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good. Well, now we got the history. Yeah. And you got to Allendale by coming through state.
Got to Fairfield. Now don't put Allendale on me now.
No, I'm sorry. You're wearing that black, because I was at Allendale one time too. And, you know, I'm having flashbacks. I meant Fairfield. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I used to work in that school district, tell you the truth.
Okay.
When it was called Winsboro.
Yeah.
And I was at C.A. Johnson is in the mid 70s, and I worked in that school district for 1 year after I left C.A. Johnson, and then I went to Texas to college coaching. So
gotcha.
Yeah, so all those old guys on there I knew, you know, Atkinson and those guys in that crew.
Right.
Yeah, I knew all those guys down there. So but we'll talk to history later on. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm a flashback. All right, now you of course got to you played at Fayetteville State. What position did you play there?
I was a quarterback, believe it or not, man.
How'd you do that?
I played quarterback. I actually played quarterback here at Fairfield, and I went on to Fayetteville State and played a little quarterback there. You know, I wasn't the best thing in the world, but it helped get me a education. You know, and it, you know, a lot of people say, you know, those who can play, and those who can't coach. So
Mhm.
I became a coach. So I guess that explains what part of the spectrum I fell on as far as a college football player.
Now, were you a more offensive side when you came to Fairfield Central, or you were more on the defensive side?
Well, offensive, because all I've ever done in my career, my positions at South Carolina State was on the offense side of the ball. So
Okay.
I coached on the defensive side of the ball. However, being in Orangeburg, with Coach Pough, you pretty much got to learn everything, because in order to be able to attack, certain coverages or be able to attack certain blitz, learning how to protect certain blitz and things of that nature, you pretty much had to learn the defense, the defense side of the ball. So
Exactly.
I about it that my time at South Carolina State made me, a guy that could, if I had to go coach on the defense side of the ball now, I probably could.
Okay. Now, you mentioned in your thing, you got a family.
I do.
Yeah, and how they put up with you?
Story. That's a story for a whole nother day there.
Yeah,
Leonard. Yeah.
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a second. That support you get from the house and everything, man.
Well, my son is actually, believe it or not, is a 15-year-old sophomore. He is my backup quarterback now. So
Are you serious?
he is, man. And I'll be honest with you, in his early days when I was at South Carolina State, I actually lived in West Columbia, and he went to school in Lexington 1, and I go to Orangeburg to work. And when I left to come to Fairfield, I would come to Fairfield, and he stayed in Lexington 1, man. But when he became a 7th grader, I was able to bring him to Fairfield with me and to have him with me every day. It's been a blessing, man, just to be able to be, there with him on the ride to school, the ride home, to be able to see him in the hallways, during the day, man. It's truly been a blessing.
You can't buy that. You can't buy that, man.
Right.
Those are special times that most kids don't get today.
Right.
And to be able to do that with your kids, especially you raising other people's kids, being that daddy figure in their life, man, that is special, and everything. Now, when you got to Fairfield Central, you almost had immediate success.
Yep.
You were rolling.
Yes, sir.
How was it that you were able to get that together that fast?
Well, I think Reggie, I walked into a situation that was a good situation. It ain't like I had to come in here and rebuild a program. I walked into a good situation that was left, in a good place, and I was just able to come in and do some different ideas. And a lot of the ideas that I think we were doing at that time, was kind of on the cutting edge, man. And we were able to come in and play. We actually played for the state championship my 2nd year and 3rd year, which I'm 0-2 in the big game. Because of the Dillon Wildcats, they beat us, in 2012, and they beat us in 2013. And I'll be honest with you, Coach Johnson, our first 7-8 years here, man, it was pretty doggone good. But as far as high school football goes, in each life some rain shall fall. And we had a couple years there back in 17, 18. That wasn't very good, but I think now we're getting to a point now where our theme for this year is the Renaissance, and it's, I kind of explained to the kids that this is the rebirth, of Fairfield Central football. So, we've had, this is my 12th year here now, believe it or not, 12th season. Wow. And, we've been able to do some good things here, so it's been a pretty good ride.
A lot of people will talk about your successful years.
Yes.
That's easy.
Right.
How did you manage the downside?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I always feel like everything in life happens for a reason. I kind of look at things a little differently than a lot of people. I felt like I didn't win the state championship in 12 and 13 for a reason. I don't think I was ready. I don't think I was mature enough. And when I say I'm not saying I to be as selfish, but I'm just doing as I self-reflect my career.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this thing is way bigger than Demetrius Davis here at Fairfield Central High School. But as I reflect through my career, I think that I wasn't ready that early in my career, as my high school career, I should say. And I think when we had that 2-9 year, I think that was the best coaching job that we've done since I've been here 12 years, believe it or not. That 2-9 year, I felt the staff, we bust our butt to be able to win 2 games that year. And we were bad. We were a bad football team. And that year, I learned more than anything as far as I don't know if I was approaching the game. I don't know if I was approaching the kids inside out, if that makes sense to you. I think my first 7, 8, 9 years, we were so successful that I never looked at how I was affecting the kids inside out.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I was able to do was kind of go back and reevaluate that and look at the holistic approach of the kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that right there, I think made, the biggest difference.
It's always good, I think, to go through years like that because you as a person grow.
Yes, sir.
And you go through a cleansing thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what other word to use, but you go through a cleansing, and then you come back. You say, "Wow, wow, wow," and then all of a sudden it's okay. And I tell young guys all the time, "Hey, man, just thank you that you went through a bad year because if you do it right, you're gonna learn so much about yourself. And as long as you get you out of the way,
exactly,
and let that happen to you, you're gonna be all right going into the future."
Yes,
So I didn't mean to get off on that. But they call me all the time, and I just just tell them, and do some research and just tell people, all right, this is what I think you need to do. This is
right.
That stuff, and we just had that conversation. Now, so many of your coaches talk so well of you, man, and we had who do we have on last week? I forgot. The guy Dean, he talks so.
Dean, yeah.
Who else did I have on last? So I can't remember, but they all glowing words about you, how you do things, and how much they learn from you. Where did you get all that from? Where people can come back out of this process of being with you and just can't stop talking about you?
Well, I think it starts with, I tell guys all the time, I don't want guys on my staff that don't have aspirations of being a head coach. If you don't want to be a head coach, then I don't think you're going to do the due diligence and do the little things to work towards, perfecting your craft. Now, I'll tell anybody now, the success that we've had here at Fairfield, man, we've been blessed to have some unbelievably great football coaches here, that have moved on to be head coaches. We've had Scotty Dean, who's the head coach at C.A. Johnson, worked with me. Andre Cook, who's the head coach at Airport, was with me for a year or two. I had Greg Wright, who's the head coach at Timmonsville now, with me for a year or two. And I actually, Ken Floyd, who's at AC Florida now.
Mm-hmm.
Reggie kind of raised him, but he was with me for a couple of years. So we've been able to have some guys that come through here that, that's been good enough to go and lead their own program. So that they were very, very, very good coaches when they were here.
That is, that's a testament to you and anybody else those guys are coming to it, because that tree, as they always talk about, that
right,
coaching tree, and to have so many guys just speak glowingly of you is a testament in itself. And I said last week, I got to get this guy on. We got to talk. We got to find out what that magic is, and go from there. You got a rabid fan base.
Yes.
They're crazy. No, I call it like it is, but they're good crazy.
They're good crazy.
You know, and talk about that for a second.
I'll be honest, I embrace it. You know, a lot of people that come to the games, they be like, man, your fans are harsh. You know, your fans are hard on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think a lot of that comes from me being here, also being from here, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they can say anything out their mouth. But at the same time, I prefer being somewhere where people care. And if you're going to be that hostile and you come to the games and your number one mission is to talk about the coaching and every call that the coaching make, as long as you're paying those $7, $8 to come in and cheer on, you know, I'll have any problem with it. I embrace it. You know, if you ever come to our games, you know how some coaches walk with the headset. They only have the one ear.
Mm-hmm.
I wear a double barrel just so I don't have to hear all the stuff that's going on in the stands. So yeah. I'll be honest, man, as a whole, you know, our fans are great and they travel. We went to Keenan Friday and I think we had more people than Keenan. I mean, we had a great crowd. So I wouldn't say our fan base is bad as a whole, but it's just like when people say, you know, 10% of people give you 90% of your problems. So we do have a couple in there that don't mind, I'll say, speaking their mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And I say that in a I'm complimenting them really when they're crazy because they are so good at supporting and everything, and that's a good sign. You know, a lot of coaches wish they had that kind of support and everything. You know, because like you said, they show that they care.
Right.
Now, what about your administration? Do you get that?
Well, I tell you, I've been blessed there too, man. I tell you, in order to be somewhere for 12 years, I guess you got to realize, you know, you've been blessed. But you know, our superintendent, Dr. J.R. Green, is the best superintendent I think you can have, man. He is a solid guy. He understands athletics and he understands the importance of athletics in the district, you know. And then Dr. Tracy Swilley, who's our principal, you know, she loves athletics, which as a football coach, you know, your job, I think, is predicated, or I think your job is the way your job is, I think, is based upon your principal. All right, your principal, if they buy into the system and understands that athletics help the culture of the whole school or help the culture of the whole town, whenever you have a principal that buys in with that, I think, you know, the sky's the limit for that program, you know. And I'm not just speaking about football. I mean, she's like that with the whole athletic department, you know, and the arts and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. So, you know, she's been a blessing. And Coach Terrell Roach has been our athletic director for the past 10 years, I want to say. So, you know, in that, Dr. Swilley's been here for 10 years. Coach Roach's been the AD for 10 years. Dr. Green has been the superintendent for 11 years. So I think with that stability, man, it really made this job a very, very good job.
It's continuity. I mean, that's you can't beat that. This is why I always scratch my head when they say, well, we're going to change principal every 2 or 3 years. Dude, you know, when I grew up in Charleston and we had principals, especially at one school, hell, he was a principal there for 30 years.
Man.
And the school ran just as good as it did the first year, you know, and I think we are missing it, thinking that we have to change.
Right.
Change is not good, especially in the school setting, because these kids get to love on you, man. They get to know you, and
right.
they get to be comfortable with you, you know. And as fragile as these kids are today, they need that.
They do.
And I think they need to back off of that stuff by changing principles every 2 minutes and all that stuff. Yeah. Now, let's talk about that staff. What do you do to attract good people to you?
Well, I don't think it's me as much as it's just Fairfield County. I mean, you have a lot of people that want to come work in Fairfield County. And we've been blessed, you know, to get some good football coaches in here, you know, and I'll be honest, and I know you've been coaching for a long time too, but when I interview a football coach, I've never interviewed a football coach and asked them a football question because I don't really care about the knowledge of football. You know, it's certain things I look for in guys that I want to be around, which, you know, is a work ethic, which is one, you know, loyalty, which is big, and just somebody that you can depend on. You know, one saying I like to say, a Lou Holtz quote that I like to say a lot, man, is Lou Holtz said, when you're dealing with people, athletes, anything, the best ability is dependability. You know, somebody that you can depend on and somebody that's going to be, you know, there to that gonna have your back, because X's and O's is X's and O's. You know, you can go to the NFL now to Pop Warner, and power is power, and counter is counter, and zone is zone. So, you know, we don't really care a whole lot about the X and O. We care more about the human being than we do the coach.
Now, don't let me be presumptuous. How successful are you at getting kids in school?
Well, we've had some success. Over the 12 years, we've gotten a lot of kids in. I don't think we've gotten enough in. That's something too, you know, that we need to do a better job of, or that I need to do a better job of, is getting kids into college, whether it's junior college, whether it's whatever college. But the thing is, now I'm gonna be honest with you, with this transfer portal, it has really made high school football tough, you know. And if a kid gets an opportunity to go get a scholarship to go anywhere, you know, they are blessed, because there's not a lot of high school recruiting going on right now. I got a kid now, Donovan Watkins, that's probably playing better than anybody in the state right now. And you would think that, you know, I would have to say, excuse me to get in my office, because there'd be so many people in the hall to get in here. But you know, guys just not out working anymore. I think guys are out just sitting back waiting for the transfer portal.
Make a lot of money to sit around and wait.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, they had to come out here and work and
get out and beat. When I Carolina State, I mean, that hadn't been but 11 years ago, man. We had to get out and beat the streets. We had to get out and get in these schools. Yeah. But college recruiting has got away from that.
You know, the advancement of huddle highlights.
Yeah.
I hate them, but but that's another story for another day. So you look for that in a coach. You look for those three things. Anything else? I mean, do you ever get to that gut feeling that, you know, you right down the edge is somebody, whether to take him or not? You had that gut feeling, you know, that I need to go ahead.
Well, I you know, I've missed on a couple. I mean,
we all do.
We all do. You know,
we all do.
They, you know, you really don't. It's kind of like dating. You really don't know who you dating until you live with that person, you know. So, you know, it don't take long though. After about a month or so of really working with somebody and being with somebody every day, you know if that's somebody that you want to continue to work with, or you know if that's somebody that you might need to try to help, you know, do something else. And a lot of people sometimes flourish in different situations or different environments. So, you know, I tell a lot of guys a lot of time, you know, I'm not letting you go. I'm just giving you an opportunity to see if you can find a situation that works best for you.
Do you ever sit down with that individual and talk about rehabilitation? All right, how can I help you to become what you want to do?
Well, I will say, Leonard, I probably over my career have not done enough of that because I'm kind of the person where I don't say a lot, but I take mental notes, and I kind of just sail rope. I say I just kind of just sail the rope and just give people, you know, opportunity to hang themselves. You know, Reggie uses a saying that he says a lot. He said, "I'll never fire somebody. I'm just going to deliver the message." You know what I'm saying? So I'll never fire you. You're going to fire yourself. You know, I don't like to use the word fire because that's such a harsh word in our society today, but I'll never let a guy go. But, you know, that guy probably will let himself go, you know, but I try to talk to, because I like young guys. Now, if you ever look at my staff, you talked about Coach Atkinson. I always try to have an older seasoned guy on my staff. And I like young guys because I feel like you got to have a staff where people bring different things to the table. But I've had Coach Kenny Atkinson on my staff. I had Coach Hughes on my staff. I had Coach James Moore on my staff. And right now I got Coach Kim Gray, which Coach Kim Gray coached me here at Fairfield. So that lets you know that he's at least 18 years older than I am. So older than I am. But, you know, I like having those guys on staff because I don't know everything. And I would jack up something every now and then. And I need somebody I can go to that's been in this chair before that I can say, okay, coach, tell me how to handle this situation.
Do you have those situations often that you have to pick up the telephone and go call somebody?
Well,
and bring that older person in?
Yeah. At least, you know, once, and sometimes it's not an actual incident or situation that happened, but it's just to get some feedback on, you know, just tell them, okay, what you think about this? All right. What you think in practice? You think we need to go full pads on Tuesday and Wednesday, or you think Tuesday's okay? And I mean, you know, it's just, you know, bouncing off ideas with the guys that have been there and done that and got a t-shirt and got some experience and got some years, you know, giving them an opportunity for me to use some of their wisdom and some of their insight, man. And that's a blessing to be able to have that because, you know, like I say, you know, I don't know it all, you know, and I try to lean on as much as possible.
When you hire someone, do you leave room for the younger guys? You say you got a lot of younger guys. You have more younger guys. Do you leave room in there for them to give them an opportunity to come sit down and talk? Hey, I think we need to do it this way.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have an open door policy when it comes to stuff like that because all ideas are great ideas. You know, whether you put them in play or not, or something that you put, you know, you write them down and have for another day. You know, I feel like my guys, you know, realize that we have an open door policy, and when our staff meetings, you know, I pretty much run my staff meeting the same way Coach Pough ran his staff meetings at South Carolina State, where you got everybody sitting around the table. And before you end the meeting, you ask, you know, is it anything else for the good of the body? You know, is it anything concerning football, concerning the kids, concerning, you know, anything that we need to talk about before we, you know, leave this meeting? So I think our guys understand that it's an open door, you know, open-minded kind of situation.
That's good. That's a good atmosphere to work because you get tyrants,
right?
You know, I was considered a tyrant.
Well, and I in the same breath, you know, I probably have some of my guys that might be watching and they might be saying, well, you know, he ain't the easiest guy to work with. No, I don't use the word work for, you know, to work with. And I know I can be that way sometimes.
Yeah.
But people got
one I mentioned that last week.
Oliver Buddy Pough. So if
yeah.
you're in a room with Oliver Buddy Pough, you know he's not the easiest person in the world to get along with, but you gotta love him though, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, and he's everything to me. So you know, that's what I do a lot of my stuff behind.
Yeah, I just to get off a little joke, you know, because some people don't know what goes on Monday through Thursday, as I say, and the guy came to me with an idea, and I gave him that look, and I said, hey, dude, we only run one play,
right?
You know, right and left, and sometime out the middle now. And what's our record now? Well, we're 7-1 right now.
Right.
Explain this to me.
now reinvent the wheel, you know.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to get them to understand, you know, because you may not understand, but this is what these kids believe in.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing, not because of something you see out there, but these kids believe in it. And if you come in there sideways, they're going to look at you like you lost your mind.
Look at you sideways.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what strategies do you use when it comes to academics in your plays to try to get those kids to that point?
Well, academically, you have to let them know that that's the most important thing, you know. And I had a parent meeting with my parents in the beginning of the year, and what I told them then, I said, you know, I'm going to be on top of the academics, but I need you all to be on top of it to help me be on top of it. it's a lot easier for that parent to deal with their 1 or 2 or 3 kids they may have in high school than for me to deal with 70. But when there's an issue in place, give me the opportunity to help with that issue. You know, a lot of times parents' first degree of punishment now is, okay, you can't play Friday or you off the football team.
Yeah.
I had to tell my parents that might be the worst thing you can do to a young man is take him off the football team, because football brings so much more to the table than what they see on Friday night. So what I tell them is, look here, if you got a problem with Johnny in science class, okay, give me an opportunity to fix that thing, whether it's some extra tutoring, whether, you know, they go to the teacher after school before practice, or if I need to take them out on the field and do some rehabilitation type activities that'll make this thing, you know, come full circle for the kid, you know. So that's kind of where we are with the academics, was is expressing the importance of it, because no matter how good of a player you are, without being a student athlete, not having good grades, you know, you're not going to be able to be successful or go anywhere or leave Winsboro. Is kind of what I tell the kids.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good, man, because if you got that in place, you know, as far as the parents and everything, then that's a leg up. Now, what are you doing inside the school as far as making sure that the grades are up to par, making sure that they're meeting those NCAA requirements and everything? Are there any things you're doing inside the school?
Well, I actually great. I guess for being here for 12 years, man, I have a great relationship with the guidance counseling department. You know, a great relationship with the teachers as far as if they're having any grade related issues with kids, they'll email me, Coach, hey, can you come by and check on this kid at this period, or come sit in this class, or, you know, I'm flexible as far as during the day where I can actually go in and do more of that kind of stuff, you know, checking on kids and making sure they're doing what they're supposed to do, you know, behavioral wise, and, you know, as far as their schoolwork wise, you know, also.
Okay, that's good, man. You know, the strategy is the biggest thing. Have a plan. You
Right.
know, have a plan for, as I always say, always expect the unexpected.
Right.
You know,
right.
And you, once you understand that concept, you can just about deal with just about anything. Now, what are some your kids today? How are they doing?
Well, I'll be honest. Frank Martin said about a year or so ago that kids haven't changed, we've changed. And I'll be honest with you, I can just think in my 12 years here how different I am today than I was when I first became a head coach here, you know. And I'll be honest, kids will do what you require and demand them to do.
Exactly.
And the one thing that I think we have done as a society is we've making it to where kids never get a chance to fall. And, you know, it's at your darkest time, and it's when you fall that you learn the most. Mm-hmm. And I think we have went from, you know, a lot of people say, well, he come from a situation of parents, single parent, whatever kind of parent. I don't think it's a single parent or dual parent problem. I think it's an overcompensation problem, whether you got 2 parents overcompensating or you got 1 parent compensating, or you got 1 parent and a grandparent overcompensating. I think we got to get back to letting our kids learn the value of respect. I don't know if we demand respect anymore, and just understanding that you are going to fall. You know, it ain't a matter of if, but when you fall or when you fail, this is what you got to do. You know, but we can't continue to try to catch so that they don't, you know, to soften that fall.
You got to let them bloody their nose.
You got to let them bloody their nose.
Yeah, and that's the only way that that they will become stronger.
Right.
You know, because I think sometimes we treat them as babies, and when they grow up, they're nothing but babies.
They're nothing but babies, right? They never get a chance to grow.
Then they get a kid who's harder than he is, but he don't know how hard that kid is because he never got to be hard. Right. And that's when that kid runs over the house, you know. But,
exactly.
But we got to. Failure is the best thing for people.
Right.
You know, it always has been. You know, most of the people who succeed in life they talk about their success, but when you really sit down and talk about them, you're talking about at one point they weren't worth a snot.
Right.
And they had to fight through that. And I think that's the lesson we need to preach to everybody,
Right.
all the time. And it's okay to fail. The thing is to keep laying down.
Yep.
You got to get up.
Yep.
That old song, by getting up. I can't remember the verses right now, but that song is so true. 10 years, where you want this program to be?
10 years from now, I want this program to be one of the top programs in the state, and I'll be honest, I really thought I could get it in the first 10, but it wasn't meant to be, that wasn't a part, that was my plan, it wasn't part of the man above's plan. So, 10 years from now, I would still love to be here. I don't have any aspirations of going anywhere else. I'm blessed to have both of my parents still alive. They live about 2 miles from here, and I can go by and see them. This is home, man. So I people ask me, well, do you plan on leaving to go to another high school? Well, no. And if I get fired, then yeah, I look for something. as far as, me up and leaving Fairfield Central to go to another high school in the state of South Carolina without being fired is a slim and none possibility.
Yeah, but that's good. And because again, stability.
Right.
Stability for everybody. That's the main thing. And this year's team is again getting you that bounce. You call it a renaissance, is giving you that bounce back to where you were with your first couple of years.
Right. Well, we won 3 games this year, and we got 2 lessons. I don't ever really say lost, because I don't think we ever lose. I just think we run out of time.
Mm-hmm.
And we got 2 lessons. We learned a lesson from Chester. That's a very good football team. Vic Floyd's a good friend. We lost to them 34-32. We lost like 2 to them. And then the next week we went and lost to a very good Lancaster team, that Coach Surratt's doing a great job with them this year, So and I said elsewhere, but we had 2 lessons this year. And we've actually had 3 victories. So we 3-2 right now. We're into a bye week, which is perfect timing. We got some kids banged up. So, we still got some 5 games, in our region now is, we're back in the Columbia 2A region with Keenan and Eau Claire. Columbia is Gray Collegiate, Newberry, Mid Carolinas in our region. So it's a pretty tough region, 6-17 region. So we still got some work cut out for us.
So the game against Keenan the other night, that was a region game?
That was a region game.
Okay. I didn't realize that many games have been played already.
Right. Yeah, we're through week 5 now, where we've played 5 games. So this is actually week 5 coming up. But
yeah, I didn't realize that many games have been played.
Yeah.
I tell you, my other business keep me so busy that I haven't been able to lock in like I normally lock in.
Right.
But that's all right. You of course, educate yourself, on a yearly basis. I'm right. Just going to give that. I'm going to give you that. How do you encourage your staff members to do the same?
Well, I think it's you think about a tree, and that's something I use a lot with the kids. That's something I use a lot in my day-to-day life. When a tree quit growing, that tree's dead. So you got to always be perfecting your craft. You got to always be trying to get better, and I'm a big reader. I read all kind of different things across the spectrum, whether it's sports related books or it might be some history related stuff. But I just think you got to always grow. You got to always try to do better. And if you ever get to a point where you feel like you've arrived, then I think you're a dangerous human being to society. So I just think you just have to keep grinding. Keep working and just always try to reach perfection, which you'll never be. Perfection is not something that the good man above ever wanted us to have, because he felt like if we was perfect, then, we wouldn't need him for nothing. Mm-hmm. So perfection is something I don't think you can ever grasp, but I think you should always work towards it.
Now, this is Demetrius, 11 years. You've been there 12 years?
This is my 12th season. So
this is your 12th season. This is Demetrius in year 12.
Right.
Did Demetrius feel the same way year 1?
Demetrius here was a clown. You know what I'm saying? He he was a young 34-year-old joker that really didn't have a clue of what it takes to be a high school football coach. He had never been in a high school. He came in, and I think schematically, I think I was one of the not to toot my own horn, but schematically, I think I was one of the best coaches in the state. But being able to be a real high school football coach, I was the worst. And just understanding what it takes to be a high school football coach. I mean, what you see on Friday night is probably 10% of this job. And to what you do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday dictates what happens on Friday. So what you do January, February, March, April, May, June, July dictates what you do just for 10 weeks. So I had to learn that in a way that was the humbling part, because I think when I first came in, I was able to sustain what Reggie already had in place. But after 7, 8, 9 years of me jacking up stuff was when we had to go to the point of pretty much rebooting this thing and starting it over.
When did you get knocked upside the head and said that you had to, whoa?
It was at 2 and 9 year. I want to say that was 4 years ago. So that would have been 2018. That year really made me realize that X's and O's is fine, and you can draw some stuff up. That's a good play, man. But if you're not making these kids grow to be good human beings and being good people, then if they're not good people in the school, they're not going to be good people on the field on Friday night. So it's more, you got to do more intrinsically with the kids than drawing up X's and O's on the board.
Lesson well made. That's the thing, and you find out that you'll be sustained for a long time. I remember, I don't know if you know the name Joe Tuberville.
Oh yeah.
We sat down and talked. I was at C.A. Johnson at that time, and we just sat down and talked and had a Coke, after one of our morning meetings. And he told me basically the same thing that you just said. Because I was a young guy coming to the first head job and everything, thinking that I knew everything there was to know.
Right.
And you come to find out, whoa, don't know nothing.
You don't have.
But the biggest thing, a lot of guys who don't make it or fail, is that they don't humble themselves,
right,
to learn. And it seems to me you reach that point, you humble yourself, but you also reach out to say, help. Help me figure this out, because I don't know everything. And that's a testament to you. And that's why you're going to continue to do the great things in your career and everything, man. That is fantastic. All right. Now, I need to talk about your weight program, because one of the other coach told me that you had a stellar weight program going on. Do you want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, well, we got a great program going on, and it starts with our head strength and conditioning coach, Coach Brandon Studemeyer. So, I probably shouldn't say his name on the podcast because I want to keep him a secret, but
too late now.
He does a great job in the weight room, man, and he's gotten our kids a lot stronger mentally and physically. He does a great job. That's all I can say. I wish I could sit here, Leonard, and take the credit for it, but all the credit that we get from our weight room is from Coach Brandon Studemeyer.
Well, always remember this, man. You can't be the smartest one in the room.
That ain't no doubt.
Yeah, you got to find good people who are smarter than you to get things done. Yeah, you got to get yourself out of the way and let people do their job.
Right. So, and let people do their job. And, we've been blessed to have him here for like the past 4 or 5 years, but he'll be one of these kids, or one of these, I say kids, he's younger than me. He'll be one of these guys here in the next year or so that's going to be probably heading his own program also. So, he's a good one.
That's good, man. Well, that is fantastic. Wow, time is going by. I know you got to get home. One last question. How does it feel to be coaching your son?
It's good, and I'll tell you a funny story. My son, like I said, is the backup quarterback. So one of the players one day was teasing him, and he was like, "Ford, you the first coach's son I ever known that was a backup quarterback." And my son, he laughed and he said, "Well, you know what? My daddy wants to win, and my daddy's gonna put the best guy in." And at the end of the day, he knows that when we're on the football field, I am Coach Davis, and it's about business and it's about winning. But as soon as we walk off that white line, I'm dad, and I'll be honest, I have to make sure I'm dad more than I am coach, so a lot of times riding home or whatever, man, we try to just talk about what happened in the school day instead of he want to talk about what to do against cover 3 and cover 2. I tell him, we do that. Being 4-6 right now, I just want to be dad right now,
Well, that's good, man. Well, I tell you, man, you're doing it the right way. You are doing it the right way, man. Keep those precious moments up, because it'll be something that you will remember 20, 25 years from now. And surely it'll be something that he will remember 20, 25 years from now. That special moment that y'all have riding back and forth. Well, man, we're about to shut this down, and we always shut down with 2 questions.
Okay.
You ready? These are the best questions of the night. You got 1 hour to spend with 2 individuals, one being a coach and one being a non-coach. Who would those individuals be, dead or alive?
If I got 1 hour, that coach would be Buddy Pough, of course.
Why you pick Buddy?
Well, I'll be honest, I wouldn't be on this podcast with you today if it wasn't for Buddy. If it wasn't for Coach, I don't know if I ever would have went to college. Going to college really wasn't an aspiration of mine in high school. All I wanted to do was get out and get a job, But Coach Pough was the guy that brought me in his office and said, "Look here, if you go to college, get a degree, and when you graduate, I'll hire you back to coach my quarterbacks at Fairfield Central High School." That was my motivation. Those lonely nights eating oodles and noodles with no money when I wanted to come back to Winsboro, and I just couldn't come back because I knew Coach said he was going to hire me to be his quarterback coach. So, and that was just the beginning, man. But just the growth, just the exposure of being at the University of South Carolina for 2 years, that would have not happened had Buddy Pough not been there. Being able to say that I worked under Lou Holtz for 2 years would not have happened if it wasn't for Buddy Pough. And just to be able to be at South Carolina State and get a master's degree and work for 10 years, none of that would have been possible without him.
That's fantastic. Buddy Pough is the first one that has come up from anybody. Right. And that person outside of
it has to be mom, man.
It has to be
my mom.
Go ahead, talk about mom.
I don't even know where to begin with that. She's always just been the person that I think have made me understand, because if Demetrius Davis could have made decisions for himself as a 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kid, I once again wouldn't be here today, and just to have somebody, in place, and both my parents alive and did a great job, but you only gave me one, so I got to take my mom. But
you can take both of them.
You
can take both of them.
Well, I need both of them then, but just to
do your show, do your thing.
But just to be able to have them, Leonard, to tell me days I didn't want to go to work when I had my little job at Bilo, or days I wanted to quit school, you can't quit. Or when I wanted to quit Fairfield State and come back home, they said, well, you can quit Fairfield State, but you can't come back here. Just to have them to be my brain until I was old enough to use my own brain was a blessing, man. And that's what I try to tell parents today. Kids shouldn't make decisions, because you give a kid a chance to make an easy decision, they're going to take the easy route every time, because they don't understand what hard work and what they're building by going through hard times. So, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed that my parents were hard enough on me, that made me do and wouldn't let me be stupid, because I was stupid, but wouldn't let me be stupid because they knew, they had boundaries and consequences in place.
Well, that is great, man. I tell you, Demetrius, it's been a pleasure, man. I enjoyed this, and the energy you bring to this, bring to the game. It is something else, and I never. One day we'll meet.
Yes, sir.
I don't know when that's going to be, but one day we'll meet. But I am so glad to meet your acquaintance on this podcast. And in closing, anything you want to say?
Well, I want to thank you, Coach Johnson. I mean, I think it's good that you are investing in young coaches. I think that it's good that you're giving young coaches a platform, because at the end of the day, if it's something I said, it might be something I said that might be able to help a coach, and that he might be able to put into his program and things of that nature. And I'm all about that. I'm all about, trying to bring the next generation or the next group, along. So I appreciate you for having me on and having all these other coaches and just giving us a chance to talk about our schools and talk about our programs.
Well, it won't be the last. I got to go through the whole state first, but but there'll be some things that I'll be doing during the middle of the week as the season go on and everything. But hey, the pleasure's all mine. I really am, and I really appreciate you coming on, man. And,
hey, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. And now you get onto that son, so y'all can eat a hamburger and talk about cover 3, cover 4.
Cover 2.
Thank you, man, and we'll talk to you later. Okay.
All right, man.
All right, thank you. All right, guys, that's Demetrius Davis. Wow, what energy and excitement that he brings to the table. Next week, I'll be posting, sending out next week coaches, and they're going to be 3 of the best in the world, best in the state. And I tell you, we just had a blast today. Again, let me do my ad. If you got any insurance needs or anything, holler at me. 843-713-6078. This is how we fund these programs and get things going. And but more importantly, this is how we get a chance to help you with life insurance. Is not a bad thing to talk about, because eventually you're going to need it, and you don't want to leave your families in a bad situation. But if you live a long life like I've been fortunate to live, you really want to have retirement programs in place so that you can live comfortably and along the way and just have fun with life. Until next week, I want you to have a good week, and take someone, love them, kiss them, tell them you love them, and just enjoy each other. Until next week, same time. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Good night.